and gentlemen, welcome to the Clarity Challenge. The Clarity Challenge is a 52-day journey. What we do there is that we ask questions, quality questions, and then we prefer solutions to those questions. Those questions are intended to be conversation starters that help to create intimacy. Intimacy in the sense of seeing into the person that you are in a relationship with, such that it becomes incredibly easy, very easy to make up your mind whether or not this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So it's a 52 days of decisiveness. That's what we call it. It helps you trust the future and act decisively. It's an amazing experience. Today, our conversation starter is a very interesting one. Unless I go deep into it, you may not understand why I say it's that important to me, but it's fundamental for me. Our question for today, our conversation starter for today is, what are some of the lessons you've had to learn the hard way as a person? What are some of the lessons you've had to learn the hard way as a person? So the brain behind this question, the reason we ask this question, we introduce this question as a conversation starter, is because this question is going to help you to establish whether or not your partner is teachable, whether your partner is pliable, whether this person is bendable. For me, this is fundamental. Being educable, being willing to learn preferably, is for me so profound. I know that there are slow learners. I also know that there are fast learners. I also know that we learn differently. Some of us are audio learners. Some of us are visual learners. You're either auditory learners, visual learners. Some of us we learn better when there is something to do with the hands. We all have our different modes, methods, styles, approaches to learning. But the common denominator for this question is, no matter what your method, your style, your approach to learning, the question is, are you even a learner? This for me is so profound. It's so important. The reason for me it's so important, now I got experience. I had the opportunity to get married in the year 2000. That's a long time. Now listen, the primary basis upon which I chose my partner back then, primary basis, was because I saw in her a desire to know, a craving for knowledge, an insatiable hunger for new levels of insight, new levels of understanding. Now listen, of course, love is important. I do not underestimate that. It was there. But you see, no matter the volume, the quantum, the amplitude of love that is in a relationship, when partners are unwilling to adopt, to adapt, and to adjust, nothing works. It's a question of time before love will evaporate, love will disappear. The desire to accept, first of all, that you don't know everything. To accept, first of all, that you do not have monopoly of knowledge. To accept that there's something to learn on a daily basis, even from an ant, like the Holy Book recommends. It's profound for me. For me, no matter the weakness, no matter the limitations, no matter the challenges, no matter the background, no matter the setback, no matter the inhibitions, no matter what an individual is short of, if that individual is willing to learn, then we can take the world by storms. So I have a craving, an insatiable hunger for knowledge, and I'm willing to learn from just anybody. having a partner that has the same disposition for me is profound. No matter what happens, we can do. No matter where we're short of, we can learn. No matter where we don't have it all, there is always a chance. And the craving for knowledge is revealed in partners' attitude to books, to videos, to any teaching material, any channel, any resource for knowledge. It's so important. Now, beyond the need to learn is change itself. The reasons are simple. The only proof that learning has taken place is change. Listen, if there is no change in behavior, then learning has not taken place. This for me is so profound. This for me is so important. You want to share your story about what you have learned the hard way, so that number one, your partner understands what you have dealt with, where you're coming from, what you've been through, and what it has taken you to learn. Now, what this question is going to do, on the one part, it helps you to realize the areas in your partner's life where they struggle to learn. It will reveal the extent to which learning is difficult for them, their level of stubbornness, obstinacy. How obstinate is your partner? This story will define it for you. How certain things you think should have been commonplace, but it takes certain persons forever to come to terms with. Some people argue about everything. Some people create a problem out of things that doesn't make sense. Questions like this will bring you to that place where you realize who you're dealing with and make up your mind how far you want to go with this. So when you ask your partner this question, or they ask you this question and you answer the question, the other thing it does is that as they share their story and say, okay, these are the mistakes I did, this is what I've learned from it, or I learned from it, it also gives the partner the opportunity to hold their partners accountable to the changes, the claim they have gotten through that experience. Because we have to be accountable. We have to be bold enough to be willing to be held accountable to our learning claims. Now, for me, these are so important. So I could be a 3 of 5 of a 10. I could be a 3 or a 3 of 10. I could be a 5 of 10 on a rating scale in certain areas. But the question is, maybe I'm not very good I'm not very good with giving. I'm not very good. I have certain reservations about giving. I have certain challenges with public display of affection. Maybe I have certain limitations due to exposure in my sexual experience. Maybe I'm a virgin, so I don't have any sexual experience. And sometimes people are scared of getting married to virgins. What experience do they have to bring on the table? I've spoken with a lot of people who don't want to do nothing with virgins because they're not going to experience the kind of sexual satisfaction that they look forward to in a relationship. And so they don't want to do that. And to that extent, but I tell them, what you should be asking is, do you have a partner that is not too proud to be taught, not too proud to be shown the way, not too stiff, not too hard, not too unpliable, not too unbendable, to be shown the way certain things can be done? Whether it's the woman that is better in that area, is the man the kind of person that is willing to be taught? Whether it's the man that is good in the area, is the woman the kind of person that is willing to be taught? Not going to hold on to as it was in the beginning, is now, and so shall it be forever. And so whether we're dying or living, it has to be this way, because that's all I know. That's all I'm used to. That's all I've been exposed to. I don't want to know new ways of doing things. I don't want to know new styles of new approach to life, new approach to financial management, new approach to making money, new approach to managing money. You don't want to learn new things. No, if you have a partner that is willing to learn, then you're not afraid to go into lasting permanent relationships with them. But if they're not the kind of people that can be taught, then you want to be careful. You want to be careful. I went into marriage relationship with little or no experience in certain areas. For example, sex. I didn't know much, and I married somebody who didn't know much. But we were learners. So we taught ourselves by books, by videos, by tapes, by experimentation, by being willing to adjust. We learned until we became masters at it. Teachability. For me, that was the primary basis upon which I chose my partner. She could ask questions for Africa. Oh my God, she wants to know. She just wants to know. And for me, that's amazing. And so you want to do that because, if you ask me, that is a very fundamental area, a flashpoint for relationship crisis. You don't want to mess with that. The other thing, before I make reference to one or two comments by modern couples on the platform, the other thing you want to also take note of is that there are two variables that show if we are willing to learn and if we are willing to succeed in marriage. There are two critical variables. Number one, somebody said, is your teachability index. That's number one, and it's important. Number two is your willingness to accept change. Your teachability index and your willingness to accept change. So your teachability index has to do with the fact that you are interested, you desire new information. You know, that's profound. And so sometimes when your teachability index is revealed in the fact that some of the times it is what you already know that is hindering you from allowing or having access to new information. There's something you know that becomes a stumbling block, that becomes a resistance, that becomes the bounce back, the cage, the closure, the limitation for new knowledge. And so until we can discard what we know, that has to do with unlearning, we may not be able to learn. Then you talk about our willingness to change. And that is why if your willingness to learn, somebody said, is a 10, but your willingness to change is a 0, your willingness to learn is useless, because 10 times 0 is 0. Your willingness to learn is not as important as your willingness to change. The only proof that you have learned is when there is a change in your behavior. I don't care how many classes you attend. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many audios you listen to. If you keep coming back, repeating the same mistakes, falling in the same ditch, falling in the same sport, making the same mistake, it doesn't matter how many conferences you have attended all over the world, learning is not taking place. And for me, you are a risk for lifetime partnership. You are a risk for business partnership. You are a risk for any kind of partnership. This is so profound. Somebody here says on the platform, one of our mother couples says, I learned after many failures that having been in some relationships, I learned after many failures that for your marriage to be successful, you will have to love your spouse just like your own self. I learned after many failures in relationships. So this person says that's one of the lessons he has had to learn the hard way. you must be a learner, and there must be proofs to show that you are willing to learn and that you are willing to change. Somebody here says, one of the couples on our platform said, I have learned to pay attention to advice rather than my own personal knowledge. Profound. The willingness to know that somebody, or accept that somebody could know better or knows better. The willingness to seek mentorship support when your marital experience goes through challenges and crises. Not many men are willing to go for counseling. Not many men are willing to go for counseling, even if the marriage will crash. Pride. Why should I discuss my family issues with anybody? Hiding under, I don't want third parties in my relationship. But now you don't want third parties in your relationship. You are not able, because of leadership limitations, relational limitations, you're not able to manage your relationships, that things are crumbling. So you need professional assistance. But you are not willing to seek professional assistance because you have things to hide. You have things up your sleeves, and then your partner is in a complete emotional wreck, trauma, all kinds of things. But for whatever reason, you won't ask for professional help. It's a risk. It continues to be a risk if people are not willing to open to advice, professional advice. Someone here says they have learned to take other people's decisions into consideration when they are making their own decisions. So much that people say they've learned the hard way on the platform. For me, this is profound. And it's important that you check the teachability index of your partner in defining long-term partnerships. Don't forget, the question will be, are they willing to learn? If yes, are they willing to change as a proof of their learning? If these things are put in their proper perspectives, it makes it easier to decide whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. I don't care how you love people. I don't care the feelings that are involved in your relationship. If these things are not put in their proper perspectives, your marital experience, your marital journey might be an endurance trek, might be worse than toothache. And I know you don't want to do that. Thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. I hope you got value. I'll see you again.